opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you. 1, 2, 3, go! Ha ha! I'm gonna try to keep it coming. Things ain't always smooth, but I'll be alright as long as I can find the groove. Yes, I will. Somehow I know that I can make it. You seem to like my style. Don't you worry, I'm gonna be around a while. Yes, I will. I'm just happy to see you talk to me back in style again.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me. Back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, you can visit us at tavistalks.com or the TavisSmileyShow.com. If you miss any part of this show or want to catch up on previous shows, again, it's the TavisSmileyShow.com to check out any part of this show you may miss, or, again, any show that you've missed previously. We are delighted to have some amazing guests in this first hour today. Got a great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, a conversation with Dr. Cornell West, who today commences a twice-weekly appearance on this program every Monday and Thursday, starting today at the 10 o'clock hour, the second hour, I should say. We're on in different time zones, so the top of the second hour, every Monday and Wednesday, every Monday and Thursday, rather, Cornell West will join us. And so today's Monday the 21st. We start that series of conversations with Dr. Cornell West today in our second hour. In our third hour, we'll talk to Barbara Unwin, founder and president of the Transformative Justice Coalition, and Daryl Jones, co-leader and board chair of the TJC, talk about the Good Trouble Lives On protest that took place on the 5th anniversary commemoration of the death of the late, great Congressman John Lewis. Those protests were all over the country last week. You saw those. We'll discuss those protests and the meaning of them and the path forward when it comes to civil rights under attack in so many ways these days. We'll talk about that with Barbara Unwin and Daryl Jones in our third hour. Again, Cornell West today in our second hour. And in this first hour, conversation as promised with Sean Hannity, host of Fox News Channel's Hannity, weeknights at 9 p.m. Eastern, the host of Wanted, Dead or Alive, now available on Fox Nation. Sean is also host, if that ain't enough work, he's also the host of Sean, a podcast-style interview show on Fox Nation. He is a busy guy, not to mention that he is on over 750 radio stations every day with his talk radio program, which makes him the number one person. I was honored this year to be in the top 20, but he is number one on the list of the Heavy 100. It is the list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. And once again this year, Sean Hannity sits atop that list as number one. Before I commence my conversation with Sean, let me play a clip for you of his new series called Wanted, Dead or Alive.
Come on, boys, this ain't no vacation.
You make another dumb move, I'll blow your head off.
These are the stories of the most famous criminals in American history.
You some kind of outlaw, Bonnie Parker.
I don't know, Clyde Barrow. Are you?
We have your house surrounded. Come out with your hands up.
That's how tough your little jail is.
You think you know their real stories? Think again. Wanted, Dead or Alive. Streaming now on Fox Nation.
Sean Hannity, my friend, it's been too long. How are you, sir?
Oh, my goodness, Tavis, you didn't even tell the best part. First of all, your intro, I have more to say about your intro than anything else because I knew John Lewis. I was the local radio host in Atlanta.
That's
and
right.
This is going to get to our story from 92 to 96. And I learned about all of these civil rights icons, got to know them, liked them, debated with them, learned from them, had a great life experience with them. And we could talk a little bit about that if you want.
Sure.
And Cornell West, he's maybe one of my favorite interviews of all time. He always goes, Brother Sean, that's what he calls me. He's a trip. Did you ever tell everybody on your show how we met and how our careers have run parallel?
I have told that. No, I've told that story, but let the audience hear it from you because I know it well. Obviously, I was there, so you tell the story. They want to hear from you.
Okay, so I'm a local radio guy in Atlanta, and believe it or not, fake news CNN used to call me up all the time. I did a show. Well, you want me to be? You want to keep it real?
No,
right,
tell the story.
Come on. We've known each other. We've known each other for too long.
Tell the story. Tell the story your way. Go ahead and tell it.
All right, my way. So I would get called all the time to do fake news CNN. And anyway, so we're both on the air the day that it gets announced that O.J. Simpson is about to be arrested.
True story.
And we were on with Dr. Sonia Friedman.
That's right.
Which I don't think anybody remembers who she is. And so at one point during the discussion, I say, of course he's a suspect. I mean, his history of domestic abuse, et cetera, that would make him naturally a suspect. And she scolds me on the air, and she goes, you have no right to say that. He's not a suspect, blah, blah, blah. Within seconds, it's like, CNN, breaking news. the arrest of O.J. Simpson is imminent. And this is the best part of the story. I don't know how many hours we were on, but we were on for hour after hour after hour.
True story.
And it was just the two of us. And literally, we just took the ball, we ran, and from that point on, I've kind of been very happy to watch your success and your career. We've always been friends, and we don't agree on a lot politically. I remember giving you a hard time about Farrakhan, but short of that, I'm glad you're doing well. Thank you for having me on your show. The Cornell West is a fascinating guy, brilliant, but I disagree with him. But I love talking to him.
Yeah.
When I was in Atlanta, I got to know all those guys. I got to know. My favorite was Hosea Williams, who was obviously friends with MLK. He was his driver at one point. And I got to know him. He was the greatest guest in the history of radio.
Yep.
And John Lewis and Cynthia McKinney and Joseph Lowry, the SCLC. But I will tell you, I got an education, Tavis, and I learned how brave those men were, how courageous they were, how the impact that they had in a positive way in our society. Yeah. They made the world a better place. I admired all of them, and they were nice enough. The day I got to Atlanta, Maynard Jackson called my radio show, and he said, Sean, I want to welcome you to my city, the city of Atlanta. It was pretty cool.
No, that story that Sean just told is a true story. I've told it many times. That's how Sean and I connected. We were on CNN for like 6, 7, 8 hours the day that O.J. was supposed to turn himself in, the low-speed Bronco chase. Because Sean and I were already in place. They had nobody in place. He was a great talk show host in Atlanta. I was doing talk radio here in L.A., and we were the voice of CNN that day. Hard to imagine Sean Hannity as the voice of CNN. But for 6, 7, 8 hours that day, during the low-speed Bronco chase, we were on CNN. That's how we met, and we've been connected. Our careers have been ever since then. I am delighted to have him on this program. You've heard him already say that we don't agree often on much of anything. I suspect for the rest of the hour we won't agree on much of anything. I do want him to say a word about his new show, Wanted Dead or Alive, Live. I'll let him do that briefly when we come forward. And then I've got some questions for Sean Hannity in American moments such as this. It's going to be a great hour with Sean. We're going head-to-head when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Recently, I listened to a Tavis Smiley show conversation with James Farr. At one point, James said something that caught me off guard. Not because it wasn't true, but because it is. Black Altadena is gone. I know it may seem stupid and non-productive, but I stopped in that moment listening to Tavis and James. I broke down and cried. In the back of my mind, I told myself we can bring it back like it was. But James Farr's reality check hit me like a ton of bricks. My community is being murdered. I said murdered, not by the Altadena Eaton Canyon fire, but by the people we elect to protect us, and by greedy and gatekeeping nonprofits who cannot see the forest for the trees. For the first time since the fire, I truly feel and understand my wife's inconsolable pain. Because I'm struggling to find a path to recovery and at least some form of normalcy. My community is crumbling right in front of my face. Lack of funding to rebuild is slowly destroying us. Many of us can no longer hold out, and developers are gobbling up our property. When I hear voices like Tavis Smiley and James Farr speak truth to power on KBLA Talk 1580, it reminds me that we're not crazy, just unheard. Make no mistake here, KBLA delegation, this is war, and we the people of Black Altadena are losing. It's like waiting for reparation. Not gonna happen, brother. In this new orange man world, no one, no entity is persuaded by right or wrong. There is no consequence for doing the wrong thing, and no accolades or support for doing the right thing. Will war-torn Black Altadena survive? Your guess is as good as mine. But what have I got to lose? I'm in my 70s and don't have time to wait. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once suggested that riots break out when people have no hope. But there is nothing left to burn down in Altadena. I wish I could say I remain hopeful that my beloved community will rise again like a phoenix from the ashes. I wish I could. With a KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Pasadena Community Coalition at gmail.com. Reach out to me. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed. I consider it a measure of respect that Sean Hannity is on this program today, in part because if you know anything about Sean Hannity, he does not do interviews. At this point in his career, frankly, he doesn't have to. He's king of the hill in the conservative world, didn't have to be interviewed by anybody, but I'm grateful for this hour with him, and I got some tough questions I want to put to him, as I always have. He does the same thing to me when I'm on his show. He asks me tough questions, so we know how to do this back and forth. Say a quick word, though, Sean, if you will, about your new show, Wanted, Dead or Alive, and we'll jump from there, sir.
You know, by the way, they're not even tough questions. You know what it is? It's a free, open exchange of ideas, ideals, principles, opinions. You know, the one thing that I know about you, and I'm honored to be on your show, to be very frank, is that I know you believe everything you say. Mm-hmm. And sincerity means a lot to me. And I believe everything I say. You know, it's funny, when 57 pages of my text messages were released with Paul Manafort, the funniest thing is fake news, CNN, MSDNC cover, Sean Hannity's text messages released. First of all, what about my privacy, number one? They didn't care about that. Number two, their best commentary was, Tavis, you'll love this, It sounds like one of his monologues. He really believes this stuff. I mean, is that implied they don't believe what they're saying? I mean, it kind of cracked me up. But Wanted Dead or Alive is a follow-up to a series that I was honored to be a part of, Outlaws and Lawmen, that did really, really well on Fox Nation. And, you know, at this point in my career, I love doing radio every day. I love my TV show. And I love being able to stretch and do more. And this part, too, is about, you know, Bonnie and Clyde and John Dillinger and Babyface Nelson and Ma Barker, and then the emergence of the FBI. It's really, I give all the credit to the directors, writers, producers, and I get to be the face of it, so I get more credit for it. But honestly, it's a collaboration between a lot of people, and it's been number one on Nation since it debuted, I think 5-6 days in a row. And between that, and I did a comedy show, we called it Punchlines and Patriots with Jimmy Fallon, and I really, you know, I enjoy doing different stuff, to be very honest with you. I just like it.
No, you do a lot of stuff, man. You are a busy guy, and I thank you for this hour. Let's make the most of the 45 minutes we have left here. Let me jump right in. So, you mentioned a moment ago that you appreciate the fact and you trust the fact that I believe everything I say. Indeed, I do. I try to be as honest and forthright and transparent as I can.
I know you do. There's no issue there.
I believe what I say. When people discover that you and I have been friends or known each other for 30-plus years, they ask me all the time, Tavis, does Sean Hannity really believe everything that he says? It's hard for some to believe that everything that comes out of your mouth you really believe, as opposed to some of that. No, I mean, seriously, as opposed to some of that being performative. So for the record, is any of it performative, or do you really believe everything that you say?
No. In terms of my political views, I am who, you know, you see and listen to.
Right.
Do I think that we have to be a little entertaining in the way we present it? Sure. Is anything contrived, manufactured, fake, phony, fraudulent? No, not at all. Okay. I am who I am. I am a conservative because I believe in conservatism. If you want the long answer, I'll give it to you, but I do. I believe everything I say.
So let me ask you this. I was struck by, and by the way, Dr. West is in the building. He's in the studio live today. He'll be on the second hour, and so at the top.
If you want to put him on with me,
I will.
You'll
Trust
have
me.
The most entertaining hour of all time.
At the very end, in the last segment, I'll let him say hello to you before I go to the next.
This is what he's going to do. He's going to go, Brother Sean.
Yeah,
that's how he always starts the interview.
You know he will. So here's what struck me when you said this, and I know this because, again, I've known you for 30-plus years. So I know that everything you said you meant earnestly about your respect for John Lewis and Hosea Williams and all those civil rights lions, those lions you met when you were doing your radio show for all those years in Atlanta. Here's my question. How can you have such great regard and respect for those civil rights icons and be so supportive of a president right now, Sean, who's undoing everything they gave their lives for?
You'd have to be more specific because I have no earthly idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
I can tell you this.
Yeah.
In Donald Trump's first term, first 3 years, you got to remove the COVID year for him, and in fairness, I would remove the COVID year for Biden when you're putting together deficits and the economy or state of economy. But the 3 years prior to COVID, Donald Trump, this is a fact, set one record low after another record low after another record low after another one for low unemployment. And who benefited the most? Record low unemployment for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, women in the youth workplace, African American youth unemployment. And I will promise you today on this show, invite me back in 3.5 years and I will be here. And mark this tape because the same thing is about to happen.
But my question, hold on, Sean. But my question was about civil rights. My question was, what say you about the ways in which Donald Trump? I love the discourse on annual earnings, but that wasn't my question. My question was about civil rights. And let me give you one example, as you say, I have to give you an example. Let's go straight to Breonna Taylor, the news of last week. The officer in that case, Brett Hankinson, was to be sentenced, is in fact to be sentenced this week, as everybody in Black America certainly knows. He shot indiscriminately through that window at Breonna Taylor. He killed Breonna Taylor. He is scheduled to be sentenced this week. He is facing life in prison, and Trump's DOJ shows up a few days ago and asked the federal judge to give him 1 day in prison. That is one of a litany of examples I could give of the way that Donald Trump is disregarding, disrespecting, and frankly desecrating not just the lives of black people, but their civil rights. You want an example? There's one. Your turn, go.
All right, so there's one example. First of all, I'm not as familiar. I have followed it on the periphery. I don't have the nuanced answer for you. I'm just going to be upfront. So, but you're talking about systemic. What I'm hearing in your voice and in your question and your allegation is a systemic dislike by Donald Trump towards minorities, and I can tell you categorically that is false. And if for example, the example that I think most people would use is, well, what about all these people that enter the country illegally, and why was Donald Trump deporting them? And I can give you the short answer, which is they didn't respect our law, our borders, and our sovereignty. And Joe Biden created the most preventable national security disaster in the history of this country by allowing in known terrorists. We have Iranian assassination squads in the country. We have murderers. We have rapists. We have other violent criminals. We have cartel members. We have gang members. So, to sift through anywhere between 12 and 20 million unvetted illegals, yeah, we're going to have to, demand that they return home. If they voluntarily deport, they'll get a free ticket home to the country that they came from, and they'll get $1,000 in their pocket and an opportunity to come back legally. I'm not really understanding, because if you look at what the president, his policies are doing.
Let me help you.
It's not for white America. It's for all of America. That would be my argument to you.
Let me help you understand better. First of all, I want to go back to Breonna Taylor just for a second here. This is one of the things I want to be honest. You and I are brothers, have been for 30 plus years. I want to be honest with you as you are with me. This is one of the things that rubs me raw about the mainstream media, which I consider you to be a part. Here's what rubs me raw, Sean. By the way,
I've never been considered a part of the mainstream media in my life. I'm the alternative media.
Let me reframe then. The corporate media, is that better? The corporate media. You take my part.
I'm not corporate media.
Fox News.
I've been an independent voice my whole
Sean,
career.
come on. Fox News is corporate media. Are you serious? That's corporate media. That's Exhibit A.
People laughed at me when I started on Fox News. They said, "What's that?" And the fact that we've dominated by being an alternative to ABC, NBC, CBS, the New York Times, Washington Post, fake news, CNN,
but the
MSNBC,
fact that you're an alternative,
and
the fact
that we have a news division and an opinion division makes us unique and different.
I hear that, but the fact that you are an alternative does not mean you're not corporate. You're not either or. You're both and. You're alternative and you're corporate. I digress on that. Here's my point, though. Here's my point. What rubs me raw is that we always have to know white America's issues. But white America, including the media, seems not to know our issues. I'm dumbfounded, frankly. I am gobsmacked that with all the killings of black people in this country, that you don't know more about the Breonna Taylor case. Have you heard of George Floyd? Have you heard of Mike Brown?
Yeah, of course.
My point.
Covered, by the way, I was the first person on the air. I know I'm a mixed martial artist.
I do.
I was the first conservative on the air that said what happened to George Floyd was a disgrace. I'm the first person, and go back and look at the tape.
And what I want to hear you say,
the most vulnerable part of the human anatomy is one's neck.
Exactly.
And you don't put your knee on somebody's neck and have abrasions on somebody's face.
Agreed.
And the way that they handle. And by the way, the guy was handcuffed at the time. I could tell you, as a martial artist, I can manipulate that guy's fingers in handcuffs, and I don't care whether he's on drugs or not on drugs. He will submit in a second.
But
because the pain will be that great.
But this is my point, Sean, that Breonna Taylor was murdered.
I talked about it at the time. I've not followed.
Okay.
I didn't follow this latest update. We have covered the story.
All I'm asking. Okay, got it. All I'm asking is, can you, in your mind, you may not have followed this, so let me just give you the details. Can you, in your mind, justify? Can you give me any good reason why the Trump administration would jump in front of a federal judge who has shot indiscriminately through a window and killed a young, precious black sister and ask for that person to be given preemptively? The judge has not even said anything this week. The Department of Justice asked for that person to be given 1 day in prison.
When all this went on, but we have covered the story in the past. Number one. Number two, as a result of this program, I'll look into it. If you want to come on my show and talk about it, I have no problem.
I want you. Here's what I want. Here's what I want.
You're acting as though. But you mentioned George Floyd.
Yeah.
And whoa.
So all I want you to do.
I was the first.
I got it, Sean. Sean, I got it. Here's what I want you to do. I got that part, and I love that you did that. I respect you for it. There you have it. What I want you to do for me, as your friend and brother, is to look into this Breonna Taylor matter before the federal.
Get off the phone. I'll look into it.
Okay, look into it. And I want you to tell me and to tell the nation whether or not the Trump administration is on point. Are they in any way justified to ask for this officer? It's insulting, it's demeaning, it's desecrating to ask for 1 day for her murder. All I'm asking you to do is to look into it, talk about it on Fox if you will. All right. Here's my next question.
I told you I would already. But here's the problem.
Okay.
The premise of your question is there's an implication behind it, is that conservatives and Donald Trump buy in to racism. I'm sorry. It's not true. I know the man. I've known him for 30 years like I've known you for 30 years. I know you're not a racist. I know he's not a racist. I'll find out about this particular case. So I'm going to tell you one other thing. I don't like the premise of your question, because the premise of your question is you're painting with a broad brush, and the implication is that conservatives are racist.
I don't want you to assume.
I don't want you to. Let me finish. Yeah. As a Christian.
Yeah.
I believe every single human soul was created by the same God, and that God put in every soul, every single one of us, he put in talent and ability. The word education comes from the Latin derivative. Yeah. I went to seminary, as you know, and it means to bring forth, educare, to bring forth from within. That's predicated on a belief that there is talent within every human being. Now, I'm going to flip this on you, because you say all of this, but I will tell you that if you look in Democratic-run cities and states, mostly cities, take New York City as an example, where are the worst schools in the country? They are in predominantly minority neighborhoods that have been abandoned.
Hold that thought, Sean. I got to step aside for here 1 second here. Just hold that thought. I promise we'll come back to that. Not cutting you off. You know how this radio thing works. You do it every day on 750 plus stations, so you know how it works as the number one guy on the Heavy 100. But when we come forward, I want you to be clear though on what's behind my question. For all the years I've known Sean, as much as we disagree, and you can tell we do, I have never called Sean a racist. I think Sean is wrong about a lot of things, but I've never called him a racist. I am not using a broad brush, Sean, to paint everybody on the right as racist. But I am telling you, there are some policies that Donald Trump has advanced that are, in fact, racist to the core. And this is one of them. You don't ask a federal judge to give a former police officer 1 day in prison for the murder of a black child. This is why black people writ large have no regard and no respect for Donald Trump, because he does not have respect and regard for black life. That's the point. When we come forward, I'll let Sean pick up on his point about education and black people in urban areas, and much more to cover. Delighted to have Sean Hannity on this program right now.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Funding for NPR and PBS is being slashed under President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. Congressman Chip Roy and other Republicans support the cuts, even though Roy recently tuned in while helping flood victims.
They were more interested in trying to get people to call their House members and senators to save NPR and PBS than they were on reporting on what was going on with the floods.
Critics say the move targets media seen as left-leaning. Democrat Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett is warning that a GOP-led redistricting push could silence minority voters. During a recent press conference, she said the Trump-backed plan targets Black and Latino districts, calling it a direct attack on representation. And a black woman in Florida spent a week in jail after her HOA sued her over brown grass. Irina Green said she missed a court date she wasn't notified of, calling the arrest unfair and humiliating. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers are off to a very bad start in the second half of the season. They were swept at home by Milwaukee. The Dodgers lost 6-5 on Sunday. Mookie Betts had a chance to change the outcome in the bottom of the ninth. Betts came up with the bases loaded and 2 outs, but flied out to center field to end the game. The Dodgers are 2-8 in their last 10 games. The Angels got an 8-2 win at Philadelphia. Angels left fielder Taylor Ward had 4 RBIs. The Angels are in New York City today to start a 3-game series against the Mets. President Trump is threatening to withhold federal funding for a proposed new stadium for the NFL Washington Commanders. Trump wants the franchise to go back to its original nickname, the Redskins. Washington majority owner Josh Harris said he has no plans to do that. The Washington franchise replaced Redskins with Commanders in 2020. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., inviting you to join me weekdays at 12 noon right after Tavis Smiley here on KBLA Talk 1580. As a law school graduate and a theologian with a firm grasp of our body politic given almost 2 decades in Congress, my show is the fresh new home of an authentic, uncompromised quest for transformation and salvation, both personal and collectively, as I vigorously interrogate the theological and symbolic meanings embedded in our society. I promise to leverage my knowledge of history, theology, and both international and domestic issues to imagine an inclusive vision for the future, which I hope will inspire all of us to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as a given, not just an aspiration. So join me weekdays at 12 noon right after Tavis Smiley for 2 hours of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show only on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
1455 Frazee, San Diego. CordellCordell.com.
He's a paradigm pioneer and the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
According to Talkers Magazine, I may be the #1 African-American talk show host in the nation, but Sean Hannity is #1 overall. He's #1 on the Heavy 100 list of the 100 most important talk shows in the country. Of course, you see him every night on Fox News channel with Hannity, and he has a new program on Fox Nation called Wanted, Dead, or Alive. Say nothing of his podcast-style interview show called Sean, also on Fox Nation. Busy brother, but delighted to have him on in this hour to get his point of view. I'm never afraid to talk to the other side, as you know, so I welcome his appearance on this show in this hour. Cornell West coming up in our second hour. So, Sean, let me just ask you a point-blank question. Let you go where you want to go with it. What is your Trump critique?
I get to this.
Yeah. Let me.
Okay, so this is important.
Sure.
Because I have covered the Taylor issue, and yeah, it was a tragedy. This was a no-knock raid in 2020. Officers were searching for Taylor's ex-boyfriend who was not in the home. And the boyfriend at the time, a guy by the name of Kenneth Walker III, he thought they were intruders. He opened fire at the police officers. Officers returned fire. They were being shot at, including the officer that you're talking about. His name is Hankinson. And they were accused of blindly firing through a patio door, and et cetera, et cetera. It was a complete tragedy. let me tell you what I believe. As a person,
One correction. One correction. No, Sean. One correction. Not just accused.
What's that?
He was found guilty. He was found guilty of violating her
the
civil
Biden
rights.
Justice Department.
Violating her civil rights, and he's supposed to be sentenced. So don't just say accused. He has been, in fact, he's been convicted. He's been found guilty. Rather.
He was convicted of one count.
That's right.
Of abusing her civil rights last year.
That's right.
And this happened back in 2020.
And facing life in prison. And facing life in prison until the Trump people jump in and say, give him 1 day in prison.
Let me finish my sentence.
Please, go ahead.
So, in this court filing that you're referring to, the Justice Department said that. Now, remember, the cops. It was a no-knock raid. The firing started on the other side of the door. Number one, there is context and texture. I'm not saying I like it, but there is context and texture. Very different, I would argue, than the George Floyd case, which was, to me, cut and dry.
Yeah.
And he was part of a team. And by the way, he did not shoot Miss Taylor. He's not responsible for her death, by the way, for Breonna's death. And anyway, so what they're saying with this Justice Department, and everyone's saying it's an insult. I think there's a lot of context here. When a police officer is found guilty of violating someone's civil rights, you can argue, oh, okay, no officer should have fired back. I'm not so sure. I wasn't there, wasn't in the courtroom.
This is why
I got to finish my sentence. And you're taking that as if it was a cut and dry. That's not so cut and dry to me.
Now, first
There's
of all,
a lot of context.
Hold on, Sean. Hold on.
There was no context in the George Floyd
Sean,
case for me.
One second, Sean. I'm not acting as everything is cut and dry. What I'm telling you is that we live. I'm going to put the GOP talking points back on you. We live in a nation that has a rule of law as a standard. We believe in the rule of law. This former police officer was found guilty of violating her civil rights. He ought to then face his sentence this week. The Trump administration ought not to jump in front of that and ask that he be given 1 day in prison. This is a nation that believes, Mr. Hannity, in the rule of law. Let him face.
Let me ask you a question.
Hold up, 1 second. Let him face his sentencing. Number one. Number two. This is why no-knock warrants ought to be illegal all across the country anyway, because I can guarantee, I know you, Sean, and I know you love your kids. If somebody knocked on your door, no knock, they just break into your, no knock warrant, right? They break into your house, you're going to grab your gun and defend yourself as well. So don't act like, you say it's nuanced, but you would have done the same thing, Sean. If they'd broken into your house without knocking, you would have started firing too.
You talk about this as if this is a cut and dry case. He's not the one that killed Breonna. The firing started. Now, we can debate no-knock warrants all you want. That's fine. But I would also argue, Tavis, and I think you're missing this point, I do believe there is disparate sentencing. I did talk to the president about Alice Marie Johnson becoming the pardon czar at length, and I supported the president. Alice is one of my closest friends on this earth. She's one of the loveliest persons. When I talk about disparate sentencing, guess what? That means African Americans are unfairly sentenced because, for example, the difference between crack cocaine and powder cocaine. You know what? Let me ask you a question. What's the difference? It's cocaine. It's no good. It's illegal.
Let me ask you a question.
So Donald Trump, wait a minute. Donald Trump has done more to pardon, commute the sentences of those that have been unfairly, including many, many minorities of, any president in the modern era, although Joe Biden did at the end of his term.
I appreciate that. Here's my question. What is, to your mind, the source? What animates that disparate sentencing? What causes that?
Oh, you want my honest answer? I think that the disparate sentencing, there is no excuse for it. Period. End of sentence.
That's not my question. My question is,
you're asking me, do I think there's racism behind it?
What is behind? What is the source? What causes? What leads to that disparate sentencing?
I think the system has been absolutely rigged against minorities for too long, and I think Donald Trump and
Sean,
the Justice
say it.
Department.
Sean, you're so close. Go ahead and say it for me. You're so close. Say it. Say
Tavis,
it, Sean. You're so
Tavis,
close. Sean,
Tavis.
say it. You're so close. Come on now, say it. You know what it is, Sean. You know what it is. Say it. Say the R word, Sean. Say the R word. It's racism.
Oh, you want me to
know
say
what
it's
it
racist?
is.
Okay.
That you are honest enough. Sean, you're honest enough to call it what it is. You said it is disparate sentencing. I love the fact that you said it. All I'm asking you now is to say that go the rest of the way and tell me why it's disparate sentencing. It's racism.
Well, let me ask you. Let me ask you this question, because this frustrates the hell out of me. Okay, because we're having a real discussion here.
Yes, we are.
How is it that you're not as passionate, up in arms over the fact that, and I started mentioning this at the end of the last segment, how is it you are not as angry as I am that in predominantly minority areas in this country, that if you look at law and order, safety and security, and you look at the educational system, why is it that you have the highest crime statistics, the worst schools, and these are cities like Chicago, LA, where you are, and New York, where minority Americans have been cheated by the Democratic Party because they have run those cities into the ground. They claim to have a monopoly of compassion for minorities, and yet they come up with the worst results. They don't keep people safe. They don't keep people secure. Look at Chicago. Oh, Barack Obama, president. You like Barack Obama. Barack Obama mentioned Chicago maybe 3 times during 8 years being president. He didn't lift a finger to help his own home city. Why?
Chicago has.
Why
Chicago,
is it that the schools in these cities were run by Democrats, which you support?
Chicago has.
Why isn't there outrage?
I love.
And, when Donald Trump said in 2016, what have you got to lose? He wasn't wrong.
Let me ask you a question, Sean. One, it's wrong of you to assume that I am not as burdened by those realities as you are. I am more burdened than you are. Why? Because this is where we live. I love my people unapologetically. And so I'm just as concerned about those issues as you are, number one. Number two, we could debate, for hours why I think that exists. Part of it is underfunding. Part of it is a lack of respect for black life. That's why we were talking about Breonna Taylor earlier, right? A lack of fundamental respect for the decency and the humanity and the dignity of black life in this country. There are a variety of reasons for that. But to your example of Chicago, I love the Republican talking points. Chicago, first of all, the crime is down. It's down lower now than it's been in a long time. And they do have a black mayor. Look at the crime statistics of Chicago lately. They are down under Brandon Johnson right now in the city of Chicago. But here's my question. I don't want to get too far afield. Let me just ask you point blank. What is, you mentioned Barack Obama, and this audience knows, and you certainly know as my friend, that I caught hell for trying to hold Barack Obama accountable to the best interest of black people. I caught hell for that in my career, as you well know. I voted for Barack Obama twice, like everybody else that I know, and yet I was not unwilling to do my part in this seat on TV and radio to try to hold him accountable. I had a Barack Obama critique even as I voted for him. Here's my question. What is your Donald Trump critique?
Well, first of all, your audience needs to know. You put my mic down so I couldn't counter everything you just said.
No,
you got to
your
keep
mic's
my
up.
mic up if we're going to have a fair debate.
Your mic's up.
I was not up because I was talking. But no, it was down while you were giving long monologue there.
Go ahead.
I've got to go back to what you're saying. You are dismissing outright institutionalized failure that Democrats have imposed on minorities in this country. Now, why is that important to this discussion? Because if you look at, for example, dismantling the Department of Education, which so many presidents have talked about for decades, my entire career, and I started in 1987 out in your state of California. And now it's getting done. Who is going to be the biggest beneficiary of that opportunity? If you believe, as I do, that African Americans, Hispanic Americans, that they have been treated unfairly. Say the word, Tavis. Say the word, because Democrats have allowed this institutionalized failure. You don't educate your kids, and you are cutting out every rung to the ladder of success in this country. Now, I'm going to add one other thing. Donald Trump, by appointing Alice Marie Johnson, by setting Alice Marie Johnson free, and many other prominent African Americans, in the justice system, because you wanted to talk a lot about Breonna Taylor. Donald Trump now has set up an economic foundation that'll be second to none. And here's my advice to your audience. Pay very close attention to the trillions of dollars that he's been able to get in investment commitments from companies and countries. So we're going to build manufacturing facilities for automobiles, high-paying career jobs, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, rare earths, magnets, all bringing it home. Good for national security, but it's going to be high-paying jobs for Americans. There'll be less competition because the unvetted illegal immigrants that Biden and Harris allowed into the country, including the list that I told you earlier about known terrorists and murderers and rapists and cartel and gang members, that's going to be opportunities for every American.
I got to silence your mic right now, Sean, because I got to step aside. You know how this works again. It's live talk radio. When we come forward, though, I wanted you to get that out. When we come forward, I want you to answer the question that I posed. What is your Donald Trump critique? We know all the things that you believe in that he's doing, but what is your Donald Trump critique? I had an Obama critique. You raised it, so I'm following you. You heard my Obama critique. The whole country did. What is your Donald Trump critique? That's the question for Sean Hannity when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on! What about you?
Yeah. At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-868-6431. 800-868-6431. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-868-6431. 800-868-6431 and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Sean Hannity. My time is getting tight. Sean, what is your Donald Trump critique?
You know, I find this question humorous as hell, but I have been critical of him in very specific cases. Like, for example, when he attacked John McCain, I thought it was unfair. Mm-hmm. There's been other instances I did as well, but I think you're missing the bigger picture. And Tavis, you're living through history now. Right now. You're never going to see a 6 month, yesterday was the 6 month mark that he's been president of our country. And he's secured the borders. He's deporting illegal, dangerous criminals out of our country, making the country safe again. He's going to, transform education. He's opened up energy dominance. He has similarly, moved forward. Got $11 trillion in commitments. He gave us the largest tax cut in the history of the country. He's looking out for working men and women, which I love because that's my background. and no tax on tips, overtime, Social Security. I
Sean.
think this is all dynamic.
Hey,
By the way,
Sean.
hang on, I'm finishing. Okay. And I gave you my criticism. Sometimes he says things that I don't like, and I don't think it's necessary, somwhat gratuitous. However,
I asked you for a critique. You asked you for a critique. You give me his playlist.
Add to that, he took out Iranians' nuclear sites, and here's my point to you.
Okay.
Is you want me to focus on, what minor criticisms do you have of Trump? I am telling you, he is the most transformational, consequential president in over 100 years, and you're living history right now.
So in other words, in the first 6 months of his
He's
administration,
kicking ass.
hold up, okay.
He's kicking ass.
In the first 6 months of this administration, what you're telling me is you have no critique of Donald Trump in the first 6 months. Nothing he's done are you willing to critique in the first 6 months. Not a single thing.
I think he's been his better self for this 6 months, and he's going at a pace and taking on the biggest, most consequential issues of our time.
But again,
and you can't name a president.
But you have no critique.
But no. I'm
just asking a simple question. Sean.
Sometimes I wish he was less combative. I wish he would. I wish he wouldn't say some of the things he says sometimes. I gave you an answer.
Okay. All right. My remaining moments with Sean Hannity when we come forward. I'm going to let him say hello to Dr. West as he requested. Dr. West coming for the next hour. I'm sure Dr. West and I will have some commentary about this hour. But I will let Sean and Dr. West say hello to each other when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal, prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
I closed this hour where I began this hour. That Sean Hannity doesn't have to do these interviews. He doesn't need to at this point in his career. But I consider it some measure of his respect for me. He would come on this program for an hour, as I have done his program many, many times over the years. In our next hour, Cornell West commences his regular appearances on this program every Monday and Thursday at the top of the second hour. Cornell West will be offering his commentary on my program. I'm honored to have him in studio right now. Dr. West, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm blessed to be here. Rich dialogue with you and Brother Sean. Indeed. How you doing, Brother Sean?
Oh, man. You know, this is a great day of my life. I get to catch up with two friends, and I consider you both friends, even though we disagree. Why do you always call me Brother Sean? Brother Sean. By the way, you got to admit, Dr. West, this is going to be Tavis's highest-rated hour in the history of the show.
Lord. Let me tell you this, though, brother. You see, I come from a rich tradition of a great black people who believe that there's the Almighty God who endows each and every one of us with a sanctity and a dignity that the world didn't give them and the world can't take away. So I call you brother precisely because you made in the image of the same God that made me. Now, yes, you're my political foe. Yes, you are my enemy. Jesus tells me to love my enemy. You Christian, I'm Christian.
Not your enemy. What do you mean I'm your enemy? Where did that crap come from?
Oh, no. You're an enemy in the sense that you're tied to policies that's crushing the people I love. I can call Trump a brother and call him a gangster at the same time because he has policies that's crushing
your
folks.
Democratic friends.
Oh no, I agree with you. The Democrats do. Democrats have been crushing too. Both parties tied to genocide in Gaza. That's not Christian at all. But I learned, my brother. Let me tell you one thing I learned, brother. I hate the sin and love the sinner. So I want to congratulate you and Sister Ainsley. I want to congratulate you on your engagement. It's a beautiful thing. I want your love to flower and to flourish. But we are foes, but we're enemies in the sense that Jesus talked about it. You love your enemies. You love the sinner.
No,
you
we're
hate
not.
the sin.
No, you're wrong. Dr. West, I gotta interrupt you. We are brothers in Christ.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Jesus does not see skin color.
That's true.
We are brothers in Christ.
But enemies are those who are crushing the poor and facilitating genocide. Those are enemies, brother.
Listen to me. You're missing the whole point. What is Israel supposed to do? That's a whole different discussion.
Well, no,
I am more. Just focus on my question here.
Mm-hmm.
Why? For decades have Democrats run these cities into the ground, and they're hurting our minority children
because they don't care enough about black people and poor people. You're right. They don't care enough about black people and poor people. Why does Trump do similar kinds of things? He doesn't care about Palestine. He doesn't care about poor people. He doesn't care about black working people. That's why Tavis's point is a powerful one.
It would take me the rest
but we
of my
need
life
we need a seminar together. We need a
long
seminar to lay out political enemies versus brothers in Christ.
We need a bottle of whiskey, and the three of us.
I'm going to bring some cognac. I'm going to bring my cognac with me in the name of Jesus, my brother.
Sean,
in the name of Jesus, I'm going to bring wine, and we'll just sit and break bread together and reenact the Last Supper.
Sean, I thank you for this hour. Once again, you all know this.
All right,
He's the host.
When the ratings come in, I want to hear highest hour ever on the Tavis Smiley Show.
Yes.
And by the way, I want both of you on my podcast. I love and respect you both. I pray for you both, and I'm happy for both of your success, both of you being successful. And I pray to God that our great country comes together and that we bring the gifts, the talent that God gave every single child out, and that they live in a country of liberty and freedom and prosperity and happiness and law and order and education and a belief that this nation was founded by God Almighty and we're all endowed by that same Creator. That's my prayer.
We will continue this on your podcast, Sean. Let us know when.
You bet.
All right, take care. All the best to you.
God bless you, brother.
Sean Hannity of Fox News. Again, his new program on Fox Nation is called Wanted, Dead, or Alive. His podcast on Fox Nation as well. As I said 2 or 3 times earlier, Sean did not do that, and I'm not unmindful of that. But again, I've been on this program so many times over the years, taking his heat. I thought it'd be good for him to come over here and get some of this. So anyway, we'll continue with Dr. Cornell West when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Funding for NPR and PBS is being slashed under President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. Congressman Chip Roy and other Republicans support the cuts, even though Roy recently tuned in while helping flood victims.
They were more interested in trying to get people to call their house